It might be someone who has an endless budget. Someone coming in from a vanity top in their bathroom is just as important. We love helping that person. That's the reward. And having a business is something, your own business particularly, is something that you can steer that and control that and feel that when it happens. Started feeling unwell at the beginning of 2019, and I was overseas sourcing stone for a really large project. And along the way, the person I was traveling with said, "Oh, you're sort of not yourself." I was 47 then. Got myself checked. They knew it was not good straight away. Said, "Look, you've got a tumour." A couple of days later, I met with a surgeon and he said, "Look, it's quite aggressive bowel cancer. We need to operate." He's thinking like early next year. He said, "We're doing it in a few days." When times are quiet and you can't be reactive, you've got to be proactive, whether it's asking, listening, offering, and just being the supplier that people want to work with, but you've got to earn that trust.
Welcome to Behind the Design, a podcast where we unfold the details behind the designs we know and love and explore how each project comes to life. I am Camilla Ingall, owner of Unfolded, an interior design and styling studio. In this podcast series, we dive into the details with our industry experts, covering topics such as the creative process, latest design trends, and how we, as an industry, work together to meet the brief and overcome challenges. Let the conversation begin. Welcome back to Behind the Design, a podcast that goes beyond the finished spaces and into the people, processes, and stories behind them. I'm your host, Camilla Ingall, interior designer and founder of Unfolded. Today I'm joined by Nathan Karpenko, owner of CAV'ART Stone, a business built on relationships, quality, and a really strong understanding of both product and people. Stone is one of those materials that can completely define a space, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. There's a huge amount that sits behind it, from where it's sourced, to how it's selected, and to how it's actually used in a home. And what stood out to me in our conversation is that Nathan's approach isn't just about supplying the stone, it's about guiding people through the process in a way that feels considered and honest. So Nathan, welcome to Behind the Design.
Thank you for having me. Lovely to be here.
So I'd love to start with your path leading into stone. It's not the most obvious one.
No, really is.
Yeah. You studied geology, then spent over a decade working in five-star hotels.
Correct.
So talk us through that transition to where you are now.
Yeah, so sort of looking back now, it's always interesting. My thought process when I was young was having a job that you could work anywhere in the world at any given time. Not that I was ever fleeing anyone, but architecture was one thought, but geology was something that really interested me. And I always had this thought of working in a mine in Mexico or an oil refinery somewhere or offshore. So I studied geology at school. I won't say the result I got because, it was something I did, but still maintain a lot of that information about rocks and what's igneous and the different minerals. But after school, I actually went straight into working in five-star hotels and resorts and then always worked hard and really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed meeting people and chatting and listening a lot and just different people, different expectations of what their journey and visit to Sydney was going to be like, and then helping share my insights, where to go, what to do. And I was a chief concierge, so I was concierge with the Gold Keys. I became a member of the Clay Door, which is a worldwide organisation. So always worked hard and really wanted to do more than everyone else. But I think it was when we were having our second son, got to that pivotal moment that I knew after 13 years I didn't want to work in hotels forever. And funnily enough, went into another stone company who one of the directors worked in the hotel industry himself for many years in London and also in Victoria. And they were looking for someone to start in Sydney, and it was a sales role. So I'd never done sales or sort of ever wanted to do sales. But again, always one of those people I thought, if there's something you're passionate about and you can talk to someone you just meet for the first time at a barbecue, that's sales. So got into that and really enjoyed working in stone and progressed and learn a lot. But I learned a lot from the actual trade, the stonemasons, which really helped me have that under the bonnet skills and understanding which I have today.
That's led you into where you are now.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you eventually, moved into the stone industry, but through CDK Stone, worked there for quite a while.
So started there in 2003, and a really great company. The managing director and founder of the business, absolute gentleman, and some really good friends still there. And it was a different era back then. I remember when I started, they didn't have a website. It was really, I had a warehouse full of stone in Marrickville, a business card and a smile. So it was really to go out and
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it. And that can-do attitude. But it was really good, and it was always seeing. And again, I learn a lot of what I know today from the stonemasons, obviously from the people I worked with, but the stonemasons who are your skill trade of that industry to work with a stone, listening to them, asking a lot of dumb questions, and they were really great. And then sort of worked through there for 4 years, and then got headhunted myself for a furniture company to start their Sydney operation and then Brisbane operation. So I left for 4 years, but again, always promised the founder, the managing director, that I'd come back one day. And it was sort of 4 years later that he said, "Okay, you're coming back." So I did, and went back there, ended up having shares in the business, and really loved it. And again, it got to that moment. I think I was there. It was 2021 or 2020 when sort of started to think about what's next, the chapter with family and the next stage of my life.
But also, if we go back to 2019, everything shifted quite significantly with your health.
Yeah, and again, like great to talk about it because it is something that I mean, for me as well, something not just guys, but a lot of people do is like blanket things and not want to look after themselves. And wellness is always something that now very vocal about to people. But started feeling unwell at the beginning of 2020. I remember I was, 2019, and I was overseas sourcing stone for a really large project and had to travel to Turkey, Brazil, and Spain. And along the way, the person I was traveling with who was doing the project said, "Oh, you sort of not yourself, like you're always getting bloated and feeling unwell." And got back and then had a few health checks, and I was 47 then. So the doctor didn't think it was anything serious, thought it might have been gluten tolerant or celiac or irritable bowel. And then sort of wasn't really listening to my body and paying attention, but I knew I was working hard all the time, like always giving 100% and just not slowing down, always a high empath. So always, putting everyone else first. But finally sort of took the step back and said, I really need to look after myself, and got myself checked in October 2019. And straight away, the diagnosis, they came back, they knew it was not good straight away. Said, "Look, you've got a tumor that they found through a colonoscopy." And then it was a couple of days later, I met with the surgeon, and he said, "Look, it's quite aggressive bowel cancer." And I said, "Oh, look," and that was beginning of November then. And I said, "Oh, so what's the process?" And he said, "Like, we need to operate, we need to remove it, and maybe a section of your bowel, and you'll probably be doing some chemo." And I'm thinking, oh, like, and again, work and life and family, being a father of four as well, like thinking, okay, how's it going to affect me? I said, "So are you thinking like early next year?" He said, "We're doing it in a few days." So it was like that moment where everything sort of stops and slows down, going, I got a family, I got a job. What happens if I'm not here? Yeah, but it was a bit of a wake up. So fortunately for me, and it's a good outcome that I did have the operation straight away. And if they didn't do it then, it would have been worse because they did find there was more than they expected. They removed, I think, around 300 mil of my bowel. But and I might have mentioned that the surgeon always said he's a glorified plumber because he just rearranges everything and moves it. And was able to work with what I had. That the long term and the effects later on have been like hardly anything. I did have to do chemotherapy for 6 months the following year, but it was definitely a real pivotal moment to stop and look after myself and the people important in my life. And if you're not well, you can't help others, whether it's family, work, or yourself. So it was probably mid 2020 when, again, just coming off the chemotherapy, and it was, you need to have blood work and test done every 6 months, and you need to always check, and then it was sort of what's the next chapter? Like, I can keep working, but
Were you still working throughout the chemo
absolutely, yeah,
full time?
full time. But that was on me because I'm one that, and you probably see, like, having chatted, like, always positive, and I really not putting on a brave face and naive with things, but it's just life is too short, and always try and make a good impression, whether it's anybody in your life. Like, I generally like talking to people, and in my business, whether it's a leading interior designer, or the driver picking up slabs for a stonemason. It's just really like meeting people and hearing stories. So that's the sort of thing I think just we'd really put ourselves first and listen, but now it really changed how I sort of saw things and what I do. And then that moment of what's next? Do I just keep working, or do I do something that I want to do for myself and for the family.
And that brought you to CAV'ART Stone.
Yeah, and it was never wanting to leave, but it became, I think it was end of 2020, early 21, starting to think about the next chapter and what to do, and really good friends and industry colleagues who had always said, you should do this for yourself. And why are you doing this for yourself? You're clearly passionate about it and you do it very differently to everyone else. And starting 2021 and after the turmoil of the previous year and a half, it was, okay, I think I should do something for myself. And it also gave me that that step to actually do something for myself and for others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it's, you honoring your own fulfillment and what you're wanting to do is also going to benefit the people around you because it shifts
Absolutely.
your whole perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a hard time. It was COVID. We were learning something new in the world and we're all learning at the same time. And the previous year, 2020, poor Victoria went through it harder than all and we learned from them. But they had a lot of lockdowns. A lot of our industry, the construction and building industry, was really at a standstill. So opening a business at the mercy of that in that industry was something you really had to take a bit of a leap of faith.
100%. It was an interesting time.
Yeah.
And so once you did start CAV'ART, did you find that your confidence did come back during that time?
Yeah, it really did. And as you know, like starting a business and like yourself, we talked about when you went out, it's you're doing something where it's the unknown. You do have to back yourself and believe in yourself and also lean on those trusted people who you know in the industry. And it was just something when you're doing it from the ground up and unfortunately, when you start anything, the money goes in one direction, especially stone. So, you're not jumping on a plane every month and going overseas to look at it. So the money's going that way before it's coming back. And with COVID, we couldn't travel. So 2021, you couldn't go anywhere. So through really trusted suppliers overseas, it was great getting good material. It arrived amazing, but going in an opposite direction. Some people were sort of with all facets of every industry were pulling back, not ordering, cutting the cost, battering the hatches. Like as a new business, you've got to do the opposite. You've got to buy material, market yourself, be vocal, work. Yeah. So sort of going a different direction, but it actually paid off. It worked really well.
No, that makes sense. And so if we go into, CAV'ART, the meaning coming from cavar, meaning quarry, and combined with art. So tell me a little bit about that and the intention of the.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you're sort of starting up a business name, and it was always because sometimes it can be so obvious. It's amazing natural stone Sydney, this or best stone supplier or love slabs. Yeah, but it was something that resonated with what it was all about. A lot of it, even though the stone we source is from all around the world, people always think Italy for where it is, and even the stone we buy from Brazil and different parts of the world, a lot of the machinery and going back to the process originated from Italy, how they did it. So, yeah, so CAV'ART, CAVA is stone quarry or stone source, and then art is obviously what a designer or a stonemason does with that for an amazing project.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think it's a gorgeous name and it reads well. And like I think we said, even pronouncing it, I was like cover.
Yeah, it's something you don't think about. Absolutely, yeah, and we get that a lot. People go, "Oh, is it CAV'ART, CAV'ART?" And in the beginning, it was like, sort of whatever you want it to be. Yeah.
And so in those early days of, starting CAV'ART Stone, what were the biggest challenges looking back?
Look, again, the biggest challenges was getting trust because I had trust from previous places, and I didn't want to lean on um, that relationship or that success in that business. And even when I went out, I didn't use any suppliers I'd worked with previously. I really wanted to do it fresh and work with people that others weren't using. So that was it. It was just really just going out, doing the hard yards, working hard. As I said, like we opened during COVID. We opened in May 2021. We had the lockdowns in June 2021. So even the staff that had come on board with me, I had to set them up to work from home. So one of the girls who started with me, she was supposed to start just before the lockdown, so she never got to start that year. Who Christine's still with me now. And during the lockdowns, pregnant with second child. So she came back when she was coming back in January or February the following year when all the smoke cleared, and then was pregnant with number two. So then had maternity leave, but always connected. And that was it. It was just work around the situation you got. But again, yeah, just to grow the business. It was just really being in the business, not being complacent, not relying on other people, especially, when times are quiet and you can't be reactive. You've got to be proactive, whether it's asking, listening, offering, and just being the supplier that people want to work with, but you've got to earn that trust. You can say, we're the best, we have the best stone, we bring it from this magical quarry that no one else brings from, which we know isn't true, but we definitely don't shop for the fish that John West rejects. We go to the source. We're emotional about what we look for. If it put it in our own home, that's what we would order.
And it is interesting because I think when you look at, that journey, especially with staff, when you first started a business and you're going through, oh, I brought someone on, but oh, I don't have any work, but we've gone into lockdown. But,
Yeah.
there's a lot already to navigate, let alone bringing a team together and, making sure everyone's catered to. And it's a
I
lot.
think that was probably the thing that, it helped. I think it definitely helped our industry and it helped my business. With COVID, it definitely taught us to pivot. Like, you can't just always go in one way. You have to really be open-minded, and even with your staff, like the work from home, and okay, clients can't come. We had so many clients that the first time they saw their stone installed during COVID, the first time they saw the stone was when it was installed. We did a job in Newcastle. The client, like, you couldn't travel, so they couldn't come to the factory. So we sent images and videos. The first time they saw that amazing piece of stone was when the stonemason turned up to their house and installed it. So how to do that process, and as you know, as a designer, without touching and feeling and pairing it with joinery and paints, it's a lot of trust. So we learned to work through.
Right?
Oh,
Yay.
and it was just different ways of doing business. Yeah. But it also, the other thing I was going to say, it also made people start to think more about themselves and their home, because the going back before COVID in a few years, a lot of the time when people would think about doing their kitchen, from thinking about it and doing it was around 2 years. Like, we think we're going to renovate, we want to do this. COVID, we were stuck in our homes. So suddenly you're looking at everything and realizing what you don't like. You're really nitpicking, and we need to change the kitchen, especially being home more. So it actually gave people that motivation and a little bit more encouragement to actually do the house up, renovate the bathroom, renovate the kitchen.
And did you find what we found as well is they had a budget for travel that they were not going to use for potentially 12 to 18 months. So they were like, you know what, that 20K goes straight towards my kitchen.
There's my outside barbecue.
And it sounds like from what you're saying as well, instead of being, reactive to a certain scenario like a pandemic that no one could have forecasted, you were responding as well. And I think that's a really key thing to remember. It's like when we can respond to something as opposed to reacting, you manage it way better.
And I think there was someone because I used to do a lot of like business calls. I always like, and I think it was one of those things someone said once, and I think it was Confucius, if you're always the smartest person in the room, you need to look for another room. And I always like to learn and listen from people. Like, take something from a conversation, take something from a mistake and learn from it. And it was really like that, just as much as you can, whether it's in business and how to do something differently. One of the things, I'd just go back, like with the challenges of the year, the hardest thing for me was being alone. Like, I had stonemasons nearby and people who could pop in, but unloading containers and being by yourself was hard. But you had to be, how you deal with adversity. That's what I was going to say. With it sets us apart, like how you react and how you, when you got the down times and the issues, how you react and handle it. But obviously, starting a business in May 3rd, then I think it was June 30, lockdowns. You can't even go in and out of your area. Customers couldn't come to us. All the restrictions on shipping. The biggest fan for me, who really helped me a lot, was my dad, who had started a business himself years ago. Like, we're in the rag trade, so my parents were in the fashion industry, and always saw that. And that was another thing, always liking that freedom of, I saw the hardships, but I saw the rewards later on. I'm one of 5 kids. We got to travel and we went to nice schools, always had nice clothes, and we ate well, but always taught me the value of money. When I'd open the business and then going through those tough times with COVID and being a little isolated, he'd ring me every day, like, it's going to be all right, it's going to be good. And then it was the following month, June 22, had a major heart attack, and he was down, he lived down the south coast at Basin View, and it was like a Friday night. He was down the shop, another diehard Roosters fan like myself, getting his snacks for the game that night, and unfortunately had a heart attack and passed away. And that was one thing for me that was probably The only thing for me, I always just say, I always want him to see the business, like to take him in and show him what I'd done and the time. My parents separated years ago, but still really close friends, and mum's been in and have a look. And but that was one of the things I never got to show him, but I know it was there, and it was also he would want me to elevate above those hardships and keep working hard. But I always miss those calls because the lockdowns went till I think October that year, but it was always that checking in. And I'm the same with people. It's just always like, and during COVID, it was always, have you heard from so and so? Oh yeah, on Facebook, or oh yeah, I see them on Instagram. It's like to talk to, and like this face to face, people listening. It's like having an actual conversation with someone. We're just so used to texting, and yeah, they're all good. They gave me the thumbs up, but actually checking in and having that conversation, whether it's the last conversation or one you have every day, it's just the value of it's so great.
100%. And it's a reminder that like we can all text and things, but it's so disconnected, isn't
Absolutely,
it? Like
yeah.
I promised myself from day one of starting this podcast that I would do it face to face, and I have not swayed. And the amount of people who message from Perth and all places, California, can I be on your podcast? I'm like, when are you next in Sydney?
Yeah.
Because I just value it so much, and you get so much out of it, you know?
And I mean, people that worked in big businesses or really any business, it was all teams meetings, and it still happens. So we're all used to, sitting on a screen with a fake background, with a fake bookshelf, or in the Bahamas or somewhere you're not. It's like connection. It's the best. Yeah, we need to stay connected.
This episode of Behind the Design is brought to you by my interior design studio, Unfolded. We design thoughtful, functional homes and commercial spaces and collaborate closely with builders, suppliers, and makers to bring projects to life. You can explore our work at unfolded.com.au. And so, if we dive into more of the business philosophy of CAV'ART Stone and what you're doing, one thing that really stood out is your focus of quality over quantity. So, in obviously a space that can be quite transactional and competitive, why is that so important to you?
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, we always, again, like the staff are the same, and I'm very blessed. Like the staff are amazing, and the feedback we get is just incredible from the team. It's I won't say my age, but I've already said something. I think everyone that works for me, a customer always thinks they're my children. Like yesterday, we had a designer, and she goes, "That's one of yours," and I thought you were one of my staff. And she goes, "Your daughter?" I went, "No, no, like Clara works with me," but it's the way they treat the business. And I've always worked like whether it was in hotels when I was 19 or other places. I've always treated like my own with the value of what I put in. That I don't, come in at 9 and the runners on are at 5 to run at the door. It's always just keep doing and take a step back and going, is there anything else I need to do here to make it better or ease the load for tomorrow? And that's the sort of thing we find with the customer experience. We know they've dealt with a designer. The customers have been working with a designer that's got a beautiful render. They've seen a small sample of the stone mixed with some nice joinery and paints. And then they've driven out to our warehouse in Bankstown in Sydney. And we've got a lot of amazing stone, but it can be a little bit daunting. And people walk in, it's a bit of a deer in the headlight moment because they're like, oh, I don't want to get it wrong, but everything's so beautiful. And
Yeah,
we
where do I
really,
start?
yeah,
Mm.
it's really having quality stone. And we really make sure that what we bring is good quality. And it's so nice to hear it from the stonemasons that work with it, that they're happy to work with our stone. They know our quality, they know our checks. But the experience to the staff that it really is personal. We are truly grateful that people come to us. We're grateful that designers and kitchen companies and the stonemasons refer their customers to us. So we'll make sure that we'll follow through and not have egg on their face, that we're really going to wine and dine and treat these people well, because it's a process. And like you said, it might be someone who has an endless budget, but it's someone who's really saved. And it doesn't matter if they're doing, like I said, we were talking last week, a whole big house or a commercial project. Someone coming in for a vanity top in their bathroom is just as important. We love helping that person. And it's so rewarding to see later on a picture from them saying, thank you so much. Here's my picture.
I'm so happy with
We
it.
love it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
the experience with
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the reward. And having a business is something, your own business particularly, is something that you can steer that and control that and feel that when it happens.
And it is so nice, like you said, having that photo. And I love when a client, I won't ask for anything. Like I won't say, oh, send me the final, I'll be like, oh, I might check in with them in a week. And within that week, they're like, hey, by the way, it's all done. Thanks again for your help, blah, blah, blah. And
So
you're thinking,
rewarding.
for them to go out of their way to send that to you, that they're not just sending it for my benefit. They're sending it because they're really actually so fulfilled and so content with what's
And we
happened.
love to see it. And it doesn't matter if their lounge and their decor is mismatched in colours. It's emotional because it's an
Red leather
emotional
sofa in the
process.
back there.
Yeah, blue and
Nothing,
green can be
no,
seen.
nothing against red leather sofas, by the way. If we dive into, relationships in business and not only with suppliers, but designers and clients, how do you approach building those relationships in a genuine way?
Yeah, and that's something again, it just takes time. It's not something that can be forced, and we don't want to come in and like the main thing is and say we're the best. We, like I said, we can do it. But we know what we do and what we're good at. But the main thing is a lot of particularly designers and architects because they're high demand, high expectations by clients, time starved. So they just want people that can give them great options, work within a budget, give them samples when they need it, and really look after the clients. Because when you have to always chase and like you're always looking for things, and that's the thing. We know what a designer's day looks like. We know what an architect's day. We know what
You
a
can
kitchen company.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so we know
Yeah.
how important it is. Unfortunately, sometimes we get a call 9 o'clock in the morning. Go, I really need a sample of that Taj Mahal Quartzite. We've got a meeting at 3 p.m. today. It's like you just wake up and thought about it. We understand. Yeah, we'll courier it
And what
to.
do you do? Yeah,
Yeah,
express
we know.
courier.
We know what it's like. That's what I was saying. It's if they've got a bit of time, we'll post it out. But we know what it's like. So those relationships and getting a designer in, and sometimes we even undervalue how much stone and the quality of what we have and the variety. We get designers in and they say, look, we're not the biggest, but the range is incredible. And that's what I was saying with that relationship. Once they've been to us, it's then they know they can work with us. They know they can send their clients to us, whether they come with the client the first time, but the next time they don't have to. There's no fear of sending us in that we're going to deviate from design and the design process. So for quality and relationships and service, it's absolutely paramount to us. But again, it stems from a kitchen company, a stonemason who is the trusted trade because we can all design and spec and we can promise the world for this client going, yeah, you can use travertine on your bench and you can have parties on it, but we know it's a little more delicate, it's a little bit more porous, and then the stonemason's got to cut it and work with it. So, and then they're going, why are they using travertine on their bench? They eat. Like I saw 4 kids in the house. So we always try and be honest about expectations. So if we foresee that something might not work or see that there's a better option, we'll always have a side chat to the designer and go, maybe for this, like the client mentioned they eat a lot and cook a lot and dine and try different dishes. So maybe this stone could work better. And that's the sort of thing we like to help educate, not just inspire. It's if we have knowledge and we can help with a better outcome, whether it's how to seal, how to maintain, what limitations are in designing a space, we always love to share that with designers and with clients.
And, in all fairness, we need that because we're juggling up to, at the moment, we've got, 4 projects on at any one time. It can get a bit, what stone's going where? What are we doing? Let's meet with that client, get really clear on that
Yeah.
brief and different briefs because they're all different. Some of them are a young couple, then you've got a family over here, then you got one with a dog and a cat and whatnot. So different functional needs and having that conversation with someone like yourself where you're saying now, I don't mind just chiming in and saying, hey, so I did hear the client mention that's helpful for us because it's not that we've missed it, it's that there might be things that do get overlooked. And that's why having these relationships between designer and supplier is so important.
Yeah, and we'll always have that. And when you like as a designer, if you were to ask us, I'm looking for some samples of A, B, C, the first thing we'll ask you is what sort of application is it going in? And
Kitchen or bathroom
yeah, and okay, it's a kitchen. Okay,
or outdoor.
yeah, it's an outdoor. Okay, it's a marble. It's got resin. It's got a fade. So we'll always have that conversation and politely just steer you in the right direction because it's just to avoid disasters or issues later. And that's why we've been doing it, and we'll always be able to give you an option. And sometimes that option could be a cheaper one for the client. It's not about upselling a stone or like. Obviously, the stone of the millennium is Taj Mahal right now. It's everywhere, but um, Taj Mahal, Taj Mahal. But we'll go, look, we've got some other beautiful ones that would work. And you mentioned that there's a lot of bush outside. So maybe this really nice green quartzite could work. So we'll always
Or
sort
a
of
hint of
listen to
green
you.
through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we like to have those conversations. And the earlier we have those conversations, the better outcomes we can give and
Yeah.
help.
Absolutely. And for designers like myself, I've got a small team, but I'm the one who's having these conversations. So sometimes it can feel quite solo to pick a stone and be super confident with it. So if I can say, I'll just call Nathan and, get on
Always.
the phone and
Yeah, anytime, and we've been in the industry a long time. We've got good relationships with all our competitors. We it's a bit cliche, but we are that trusted supplier. Like we really, honestly, there's enough for everybody. And if we don't have it, we'll normally say, "Look, I don't bring that stone, but I know that company has it."
happy to
Um,
pass it on.
Absolutely, but we
Mm,
just yeah, if there's something we can share information, you might ring and say, "Hey, I've got a job. I know it's no one's even. Does this sound right?" We're always happy to help and avoid problems later on.
and it sounds like you live abundantly,
Absolutely, yeah,
living in abundance.
yes,
You don't have to compete.
for
I love
sure.
that. So if we go into more of the practical side of stone, there's a bit of a misunderstanding, I should say, around stone, particularly when it comes to suitability and
Absolutely, yeah.
maintenance. What are the biggest things that people get wrong?
Look, I think the hardest thing is fear. I think everyone will say, and the generations now, like you'll design a beautiful kitchen and you'll specify marble, and the client will be all in with the design, and they'll come and go. Look, I just spoke to my neighbour's auntie who happened to be over, and she said, "Don't use marble because if you put red wine, and you get ring
It's so
marks." Or
porous. Yeah, which it
yeah,
is. Yes.
and that's the thing. Definitely, we know a lot more now. Technology's evolved. The stone cutting and fabricating machinery is amazing now. But the sealers and the products for helping maintain and protect stone are very different. So that's the first thing. We always like to know what you want to use, and we will guide even how to maintain it. With there's no magical cure. If you scratch or burn your bench, you'll have to get someone to come out and repair it. But there's a lot of things to help prevent. So that's the thing that we do find that people are all a little bit fearful. They'll come in and say, "Oh, I want granite because I hear granite's the hardest," and then we'll show them granite and go, do you remember what your grandma had or someone? Because some of them are a little bit old fashioned. They still
Yeah.
they
Or they're
still
quite
are around.
heavy. They can be quite a
Yeah.
heavy look.
But when
Yeah.
we show them the granite, like, oh, I don't want that. I want a marble, but as hard as that, but looks like marble. And that's where quartzites come in. So it's definitely getting the right stone for their expectation. And even people will come in and say, look, I know I've had stone before. I want marble. Um, and I want it to be pristine and white forever. So that's the other hard thing. It's like, well, you have to put a little bit in. It's like timber decks. Every now and then you got to oil them. So the same, you got to reseal it
It's like
and
nurture the stone.
yeah, exactly. But that's something we do find that people come in a little bit fearful or misguided for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. Well, they can read a lot too and watch the block.
Yeah.
Um, and so now, with where you're at with the business, how much of your role is actually education, helping designers and clients making informed decisions?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I can get out, that's what I would love to do. And the team are the same. When we go and meet designers, we go to the office. We've got amazing stones. We've got amazing samples, and rather than just going out with like a box of like candy with natural stone in it, we'll do that. But we also like if we've got an opportunity, we'd like to talk because sometimes people are a little bit shy or too proud to put their hand up, and we'll go. Oh, you need to seal it, or you need to do this, or that. And then later on they go, oh, what did you actually mean when you said that? So, or not using alkaline cleaning products. So, we'll always try as part of that process of meeting a new design firm if they're happy to talk about the natural stone, especially a lot of younger designers. Years I used to do talks at Guy TAFE with the design college, and it was literally that like, here's beautiful ways of designing stone, but also things to think of because designers, the first thing is when they get thrown under the bus by a builder or joiner because they, who designed this?
Yeah.
So
Who specify that?
yeah, so we really enjoy that. And whether it's through designers, architects, through kitchen companies, that we're all saying the same thing to the end user. So the person who's paying the bill gets the same expectation and information from me or my staff or anyone else involved. And sometimes we do have those small pieces as well. Like just go back to like the vanities and that we do. We just got one back today, a 1 meter by 2.9 meter piece of beautiful reddish Italian marble that they didn't need a whole 3 subs for the job. So we said, look, we'll take the offcut back and just charge you for the 2.5. And then the next person's going to come in and want a vanity top in that. So it helps that we don't have to sell a whole slab if someone needs something small. We always try and get offcuts. We try not to break the slabs to need selling offcuts, but yeah, we always like to see it have another life because a lot of the time, unfortunately, those offcuts could end up as landfill or not being used. So we always try and get them back to give them another go. And someone might just need that small piece.
Absolutely. And it's the environmental side of it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is super important in this climate. You've designed your warehouse experience so that clients can view slabs properly, one at a time. How does that change the way people engage with the material?
Yeah, I think the thing we find is like, I mean, I'm the token worst shopper that this as soon as a staff attendant in a clothing store starts to come towards me, I'm out the door. Um, but when I do, I actually get the best result. I'll actually come off. They're really good. But it's sort of like that when we find with people just in a warehouse at a stone company, there's the warehouse. Just walk around and wave if you see something you like. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what's suitable, and sometimes people need to be guided just to make sure that they know what they're looking at, and also that the expectations met. So with us, we'll spend as much time as they like. We'll actually have a chat and work through how you live, what your expectations are. You're looking for white, because sometimes I come and go, I'm looking for white Carrara. Are you actually looking for white Carrara, or are you looking for a white stone? Oh, I only know Carrara. But then we've got these beautiful dolomites from Brazil that are harder wearing than marble, that are still within a really good budget, that they didn't know about. So I think if people sort of give us that trust and with that selection process rather than a task of just coming in and picking a slab, the results are great. And also with our warehouse, they're not just on A-frames where you sort of can see them, but you can't get to the back one. For us, we can pull out. They're numbered as they cut them from a big block, like a loaf of bread. So they cut them, and there's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might look at number 1 and hate it. The client might look at number 30 and hate it, but the compromise is something in the middle. Okay, I like that. I like that. Let's go that way, and we can get them out really safe and easy, and then show them all the slabs as they select them, so they can actually see all the slabs they want to get.
Because, from a designer's perspective, choosing those slabs is so important
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
as we know, we could send out a tiny, for the listener, 20 or 10 centimeter, so 100 mil by 100 mil square sample, and it could have none of the veining in it that the actual slab has. And the client might sign off on a beige stone, and then they get there and they're thinking, I didn't know it had green and brown and bronze in it. And I'm like, yeah. So we don't even bother anymore. I'm
You
like,
need to
look
see
at some
it.
online
Yeah.
photos, go into the showroom, meet with someone like Nathan. And it's super important to do
And it
that.
really is, and that's what we love to do, like really that experience. And if people got time, because sometimes we always get people turn up on any listeners, we get every Saturday people turn up at 10 to 1. We were open Saturdays from 9 to 1, but 10 to 1, they ring. I'm 5 minutes away. I know you close at 1. We'll just run through like you need time. It's not something you can just run through. It's not like getting into the bank just before they close. It's an experience. And we love to. So we always said, allow yourself a bit of time, like at least an hour to go through. And if you come back, we do have everything on the website. We do have high res images, and outside of that, we've got images of most of the slabs, but people can get that. But really to see it, it's emotional. Whether you look on your phone or you look on your computer at what's on our website, you're going to get two different results. And as you know, shades can change. And then you see the slab going, I didn't realize it. Like you said, it was actually a different green than I expected. It's got like an emerald green to it. So you can only get that from actually seeing the slab in person.
What do you think people remember most about their experience working with you?
I think definitely honesty, and authenticity. Sometimes it's like we obviously we like what we do. We have a bit of a laugh, but we just really enjoy it. And just dealing with good people. That's the thing. I think whether it's the staff or the customers, that they know the results we give and the service and those extra miles of what we do, always above what people expect. Nothing's too hard.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's a good message to send out. So you're approaching 5 years in business, and you've mentioned things have been busy. Yeah. What does growth look like for you right now?
Yeah, look, it's always one of the things. I know we were talking last time. It's because you have your business plan, and obviously, like opening in COVID, your plan goes in different directions. But you always need to take a step back and look at it. Something as simple as after the first year, we changed the logo. We had when we started, the logo was all in capital, and then we're like seeing it in print in different like Habitus or magazines. It's like looks a bit hard and angry, and we're like a soft approach like natural stone. So we had a marketing company we know redo our logo, and it's something simple. You think a logo, but softened it, nice lowercase font, and it just aligned better with us. So now for us, it's really the growth, but we don't want to be too big that it's out of control. You can never always be a small company because you're going to grow. We're doing big projects, but it's not out of control. We've got, couple of thousand slabs in our warehouse, so growth has been good. But the hardest thing is stock not going out because jobs are delayed. So for us, the next move is a bigger warehouse. So we've already got a few things we're looking at on the horizon, just a bit more breathing space and just keeping amazing range. So we just want to keep bringing different colors. The colors people know, like the Taj Mahals, the Super Whites, the Carraras, but even things for us that when we open that container door, we're like, oh my God, that looks better than we thought. And it's things that we haven't seen before. And just trying to be more leaders as well, not just following the trends, like really trying to be the ones who are actually setting them with the stone and just trying different colors, whether it's some crazy colors from France or, some amazing dolomites we're getting through a Italian supplier that's sourced in Albania. There's stone all over the world. So, but having really good suppliers who keep sourcing it and looking at our appetite and understanding not just the Australian market, but CAV'ART, like what our point of difference is and what we're doing different to all our competitors.
Yeah, yeah, making that point of difference. So looking ahead then, what do you want CAV'ART to become?
Yeah, I think for us, it's just really the brand that people know that it is known for quality, and the company that people will always know has one of the most amazing ranges, but also the most amazing staff. That's something with AI and everything in the world, and it's so often like we do our own. I was saying earlier, we do our own social media, and so people go, "Which marketing company do you use now?" We just love what we do, and we love to share the message from our mouth now. And a lot of the time, I'll be at the gym at 5 in the morning, or I'll be watching. I shouldn't say because my daughter listens. Watching a movie at 9 o'clock at night, and a customer's contacted on Instagram asking something, and then I'll be like, yeah, blah blah blah. Here's some pictures. Are you AI? No, I'm a real boy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the owner.
It's like it's not. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait. Yeah, like absolutely. And it's like they've just asked a question, but we'll send some pictures. It's just always like we're so grateful that people are reaching out or people are specifying us or putting us forward. We're going to really come back strong. So, yeah, that's what we're really known for.
Love that. And so we like to finish our episodes with 3 questions in under 3 minutes. So if you could design your dream home with no budget, what's the first material you're choosing?
Look, I would always go, I think from early beginnings, where my heart is, it would definitely be Calicut or Arabescado Vagli. Traditional Italian stone that can be both a traditional or contemporary outlay. And I've had Carrara marble for 6 years previously with 4 kids, so I know it's not hard to look after no matter what everyone says. I think that's for me what it would be. Not, the most exquisite looking one, but it's just timeless and beautiful.
Durable.
Yeah.
What's the most unusual or unexpected request you've had from a client?
Yeah, other than can you make the veins on that slab go that way? I mean, we have had people that have, with vein matching and wanting the veins to go in different directions. But for me, it was 1 year ago where I had a client. I won't say who it was or the background because they'll probably know. But yeah, they wanted an island bench at 3.1 meters, a beautiful slab of Calicut for their island bench in an apartment in the city by the Opera House. And I always think ahead and going, lift. You're on the top floor, the lift access. I don't know if this can get in the lift. No, it's all good. It'll be fine. I was speaking with the joiner, everything. The lift's only this big. Anyway, because I'm like, there's no way you're going to, because I always think about the design and construction. They got back to me and said, no, it's going to be fine. They can have the bench at 3.1. So this particular building and this particular client was also getting a baby grand piano delivered. So they'd organise to have the street blocked, a huge crane, had the glass windows taken off the side of the penthouse apartment in the building down near the Opera House. The stone went in on a crane, followed by the baby grand piano. The glass went back. The next owner, whoever buys that, you get what you get. There's no that stone and a piano comes to the apartment, but that's it. And from my hotel years and being a concierge, I would never say no unless I tried everything. It was always that background of don't say no, it can't be done if you haven't actually tried every resource first. So that's it. Yeah, I
There you go.
didn't think it'd be done, but lo and behold, I didn't see that one. Yeah.
Exhaust all
Well,
options.
we'll just take the glass off
Yeah,
and get a crane.
literally.
Sure.
Now that I know you can do that, I mean, it doesn't matter about budget. Okay, so final question. If you weren't in the stone industry at all, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd definitely be an architect.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
architecture
Didn't
is
expect this.
yeah, it's something my uncle was an architect years ago, and I always loved going to his office in Rose Bay and seeing designing, and he designed the lights at the Sydney Cricket Ground. He did the walkways at the airport. And I always liked to see those things that he would like design. And my son who works with me was actually going to study interior architecture, but came and worked with me, which I'm actually happy he did that. But yeah, I think architecture, I love buildings and love design and structural side of it too.
That's really cool. And obviously, you meet them all the time.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being a
It's an
part of
absolute
Behind
pleasure.
the
So lovely.
Design.
And thanks for listening and spending the time.
My key takeaways from this conversation: that great businesses are built on relationships, not transactions, that materials like stone require education, not assumption, and that backing yourself, even in uncertain moments, can lead to something really meaningful. For those listening, you can explore more of CAV'ART Stone online and follow along with their work. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Behind the Design to be part of our community and stay across upcoming episodes landing fortnightly. You can also leave a review or share it with someone interested in what really goes on behind the design. I'm Camilla Ingall, and this has been Behind the Design.